Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to do a quick overview about what's going on in Bakhmut because there have been some important developments. Wagner is using the majority, if not almost all, of their elite divisions in their current push towards Vasilivka. This is one of the main areas where there is currently a lot of fighting ongoing. The other main area where intensity is going on is the Azam industrial zone. Wagner gained control of some of the buildings up north. This line isn't 100% accurate, but this is where the other majority of the fighting is going on. Russia's idea with trying to attack into the Azam industrial zone is that they want to take this area and collapse the rest of Ukraine's fortifications. This is the most heavily defended area inside of Bakhmut right now, pretty much parallel with the high-rise buildings in the center. And their idea is that if they're able to break into here, they'll be able to go into the rest of the city like a funnel and potentially encircle some of the areas in the center. However, a couple buildings up north were captured, but the resistance is still fierce here, and it's unlikely that they're gonna break through completely. To me, it seems sort of like Wagner is losing their steam a bit in their Bakhmut campaign. Ukraine has done a really good job at retreating to natural barriers, like right here. You can see at the topographic map, trying to take Vasilivka is pretty much pointless because Ukraine has complete high ground over it. And the main area where fighting has been going on right now is this little ledge up to the high ground by Vasilivka. Ukraine has effectively managed to halt the advance everywhere else, where let's just take like a little 360 look at the front line. Up here by Svatove, they're pushing into Ukrainian high ground. Pushing in the direction of Bohadnivka is pretty much pointless because Ukraine has nice high ground above it as well. In the direction of Markove, I know my really decent enough. They have to push up into this high ground too. And right here by Vasilivka, Ukraine has good high ground heading along here as well. And finally by Zalynyanske, Ukraine has high ground over this area as well. This effectively bricks Russia's operations and leaves them a really small corridor where they can attack to create progress. With their current restrictions, they can't really penetrate the high ground areas unless they have a big advantage in numbers, which isn't really what they have right now because Ukraine has sent in some additional troops to reinforce these areas. And even though this segment of the front line is 28 kilometers long, the area that they actually have to attack in is just 3. However, they still need to maintain forces in the areas where Ukraine has high ground in order to prevent any sort of counterattack. This is something that Ukraine has done very well in the war. They're able to take advantage of these high ground areas and natural barriers in order to limit Russia's firepower advantage. And right now, it seems like Ukraine is gathering some sort of troops for an assault on the flanks of this attack by sometime at the end of March. It's likely that they'll open a vector of attack towards Paraskovivka, probably towards Yakovlivka, probably up from Hromove as well, to attempt to push them back across the Bakhmutovka River. More and more Ukrainian troops are noted in the surrounding areas every day, and military analysts are starting to talk about this more and more. And it seems like this is going to go from being rumors to more of a reality soon. And right now, Wagner is really running out of steam. They complain about the ammunition almost daily, and they've been sort of constrained to a really small area with maneuvering, which is even harder because of the current ground conditions with the mud being wet. With the ground being wet with the mud. And this complicates operations and makes it so it's much harder to effectively complete them. The only areas where they can effectively push would be somewhere over here, but then they're caught in the crossfire by this high ground. They can take over the lowlands around here, except they're just going to be caught in more crossfire. And it leaves this little tiny corridor as the only way to really breach onto the high ground and not going like up from it or from other similar elevation ground that they already control. Vasilivka has kind of become a gray zone right now, with Ukraine controlling 2 of the checkpoints that are by the high ground and 2 that are and abandoning 2 that are in the lower areas, but Russia also doesn't control them right now because it's suicide to go there, with Ukraine having a 70-meter advantage above them. The only other area that they can possibly advance in is this flank of Zalynyanske. If they wanted to try to attempt to encircle the Ukrainian fortifications on the high ground to the right of this hill, that's going to be a lot easier said than done because Ukraine also has a high ground advantage here, and they're going to get caught in the crossfire before they can effectively complete that operation. And that doesn't mean that Russia isn't going to be able to advance at all in these regions. That just means that in order to advance up the high ground, they're going to take a lot more losses and casualties. And right now, with Wagner having their most elite units being pretty bogged down in areas, as well as only having a limited manpower supply, they don't really want to lose that many troops in this area. And Wagner has been pretty liberal with their taking casualties in this area so far, but they have really toned down their assaults and calmed down the stuff over the past few days, which makes me think that they're starting to realize how many men they're losing. And overall, we're just going to have to see how this campaign goes, because it seems like it's sort of climaxing right now. And we're just gonna have to wait and see, and I'll be here with you. I'm sorry if I sounded terrible in this video, it's because I got COVID again. Thank you to my channel members Gene Helfrich, Stig Grun, David Appel, Delo Matatas, Phil Martin, Punic Wars, Robert Jenkins, Richard Quadri, Russell Whiskey, Stephen Benz, Evie Fong, Evan Shin, Mr. Walkman, Rye Jones, Chaspex, Smile Daydream, Javette Witter. And special thanks to my third tier members, Jacob Munch, Joe Sauer, Maxim Zabrzynsky, Joel Raindeau, PG, Jane Dungu, Mike Q, JG Bashlow, Matthew Barnes, and Nita Adressa. See you guys later.